the mayor of Pinecrest, the city of Pinecrest. Also, the vice chair of the League of Cities, and also the president of the Corradino group, right? Did I pronounce
Yeah,
that right?
that's for Corradino group. Yep.
And
Thank
I
you.
want to
Thanks
hear
for
more about that, Mayor. So let's quickly jump into this. We have a lively conversation.
Wonderful.
Grant was here a couple minutes ago. How do you follow that?
You can't. So we should just go probably at this
Okay.
point.
Yeah, let's do
No,
this.
no, we can beat that. We can beat that. I'm confident.
Well, we can certainly have some laughs.
We're going to have fun.
Yeah, let's do this. So, Mayor, I wanted to talk to you because you're obviously one of the leaders in Dade County. We have this condition of this situation of COVID, but with a lot of misinformation, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to dive into it because I know you put out a weekly newsletter. You concentrate on the facts. Tell me what's going on. What do the listeners need to know or the viewers need to know about the situation of COVID?
Well, right now the situation is getting worse. It's getting worse by the day. There's close to 900 people in the hospital. It's not going up as fast as it was, say, in June, but it's still consuming hospital capacity. Largely, we know a lot more now than we did in June and July. It's about wearing masks. We can stop this if we wear our, yes, right. We can stop this if we wear our masks. It's just that simple. No need to shut down schools, restaurants, any of that stuff. Just wear our masks and we can kind of get out of this thing pretty well. But it's going up. We haven't seen the Thanksgiving result of the Thanksgiving spike yet. We're moving into the holidays and who knows how high it could go. It's still within our control, but not for long. So we really got to focus on the masks.
So human habits contributing to the spread of the virus, right?
Yeah, I think it's 100%, right? I mean, it's, you're not wearing your mask. You're going into places unmasked or not being as cautious as we were, say, in August and September. And that's really contributing to it. It's that simple.
So tell me, what are the mayors doing across the county to mitigate this message, right, or this misinformation of messaging, and to provide good factual guidance?
We're trying to communicate. I think the solution to all these problems is quality communication. So through the League of Cities, we've been pulling together the board of directors and each of the mayors from all the cities and meeting multiple times a week as we go through this. We've been invited to sit in on a meeting with Mayor Suarez, Mayor Gelber, as they meet with the healthcare professionals. We've got biostatisticians, we've got the folks that run the hospital system and the State Department of Health. And then they give us the facts and the trajectory, and that helps us make policy. Now, Mayor Cava has been elected, and she's trying to even coordinate further through a communication strategy and an enforcement strategy. We got to do both. We got to put together a positive message so people know what they need to do going forward. But then again, we need a rigorous enforcement strategy. If you're just not going to wear your mask, you're going to get a citation. If you're in a business that is violating the curfew, you really need to get the citation. Wear the masks, obey the curfews, and we can get through this.
So I know we have a little bit of a struggle with the state, right? Leadership doesn't want the local jurisdictions to enforce. I guess you guys are talking to the state to come out with some agreement, right?
Well, no, not really. We, through the League of Cities, we were trying to get the state to, what the state did in the beginning was, I think, the best thing that could have happened to us. The pandemic hit. They let Miami-Dade County, actually all of South Florida, do what they needed to do. As the disease progressed, we got into September, I think it was September, October, they pulled back on our ability to enforce the mask rule. It just so happens that we were able to time kind of the trajectory of the disease with that, right? 2 weeks after that, the disease started, this wave began. So what we wanted to do is Mayor Suarez from the city of Miami was going to ask the governor, hey, can we get some control back? Maybe just the ability to enforce the mask rule. And the League of Cities then put a resolution together asking Mayor Suarez to do that. To the best of my knowledge, they hadn't spoken yet. So we're waiting.
Hoping.
Yeah, we're hoping. I mean, I think, look, the governor's got a hard job. It's a big state. There's a lot of disease going on in it. And so I wouldn't want his job. It's really difficult. So if we could take some of that responsibility, we're not asking to close anything down. We already know that the schools are safe. There's no need to get into restaurant capacity just yet or any of those other things. We just need the ability to enforce the mask rule. We think we can get out of this into January as well as we possibly can.
No, I definitely agree that local jurisdictions should care for they're people best, right? They know what's going on. They have fingers on the pulse.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what would you like the viewers to know about where we're at and what we need from them during this time of crisis?
We need the viewers to wear their masks. It's that simple. We're not in a good place. The position is deteriorating by the day. Hundreds of more people are going to the hospital every day. I think we're at a rate where 2,000 people about are getting the disease every day. Now the slopes are going up more slowly than they were earlier. But if we don't control this, we could easily see ourselves back in the position where we were in late July and August, where we're starting to run low on hospital capacity. And when that happens, it's bad for everybody. Now you've got to start rationing care. And again, with Thanksgiving, we haven't seen the spike. With the December holidays coming up, God only knows. We really need to wear. All we got to do is wear our masks. And then you've got the holidays. Look, don't have a holiday party. Don't have it with people from outside of your family. If you're going to do it outside. Do it masked. Those are the things that can contribute to the spike. It's a bad time of the year to have this problem, but
yeah, we also have the regular flu season, right, upon us. And
I hear that's not as severe as it might have been before because of what mask wearing is happening, and people got the flu shots, which was smart. But again, because we could use the capacity in the hospital system.
Definitely lessons learned.
Isn't that great? Now we're all going to behave.
I sent you the book on.
I know, I saw that. I'm gonna listen.
The Great Influenza, 1918. Caption of what happened during that era, that influenza, man, that was crazy. And Hopkins, right? John Hopkins, they came up with a lot of the safety procedures, so a lot of the protocols that we're supposed to be following, the mask, wearing.
And we're living with it a century later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that we can get the information out to people, and let's hope that you can listen and pay attention. So let me ask you, what's the impact to the local cities, economic, like to the city of Pinecrest? It's been has the virus given a serious blow economically to the city?
Now, in a place like Pinecrest, it's a more of a bedroom community with a small commercial strip on its side, and so our tax revenues haven't necessarily been impacted negatively yet. And I think if we're going to see anything, it'll be over the next year, the next budget cycle we're kind of in now through October. Then I anticipate it coming back. I think the larger cities with more of the tourist-based industries are probably hit a lot harder. A lot of people with hotels. We don't have any hotels. Those types of things. Of course, anybody in a restaurant, those guys are just getting crushed. We've got the CARES Act money that had come down from the federal government that we, in partnership with Miami-Dade County and all the other cities, are trying to give rent abatement and rent relief to our local businesses. Look, if we want people to behave, we've got to protect their livelihoods, and that's the way we're all trying to do it in this county. So it's certainly not optimal, and hopefully with that came out $477 million in the summer, and hopefully the federal government will give another shot at some more relief coming into the winter and the spring, because we're going to need it, right? We're not going to be out of this thing till Memorial Day if we're lucky.
You know, I saw in the Herald, now that you mentioned the CARES Act, the money that Miami-Dade County received, I saw in that we're reaching the end of the calendar year, and with the end of the calendar year, there comes a timeline for business owners and citizens to apply for relief, right?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that? Can you share some?
Well, the money is all. We had $477 million about that needed to be spent by the end of the calendar year. I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but
it's about 240 something that had already been spent.
Yeah, well, and a lot of it's not spent. Right. And the worst thing we can do is give that money back. We do not want to give it back to the federal government, just because, I mean, there's people with need out there. I can't imagine there's not more than $477 million worth of need. We need to effectively distribute it to the population. And that's why we all have to coordinate, cities and the county.
You know, I saw also 7,000 evictions were coming due this week. So yes, definitely, there's definitely need. You have an idea who, or can you provide a little bit of reference as to where people can go to seek the relief to the county?
They need to contact Miami-Dade County or their local municipality. I think the cities were given the opportunity to apply for a certain amount of money. It wasn't based on population, probably, which was the most common sense way to do it. It was based on almost an arbitrary number. But in your local jurisdiction, if you were to look it up on their website, you'll be able to find what the application process is for spending that money. And they're in a hurry to give it out because we have to disperse it by the end of this month.
So you guys heard it. Contact your local jurisdictions, contact the county, your county commissioner, if you're in an unincorporated Dade County, your mayor's office, your
right.
councilman, but please contact them before the calendar year is over because we don't want to return that money.
No, we can't return. We can't. We gotta help our people.
Yeah. So we also know jobs, right? You and I were talking about this massive expansion of growth in South Dade, and it'd be great to be able to keep people closer to where they live, work-wise. So, any thoughts on that, Mayor? Like, how do we bring industry to South Dade? What can we do?
Yeah.
What can we get the viewers to join us in on as far as advocating for?
We have a whole host of issues in South Dade, right? And I call South Dade almost anything from 88th Street South. And I think we need to think of these problems holistically, not as individual silos, right? So we tend to think of traffic and transportation as a problem, but we've got affordable housing, we've got economic development. And I think that our leadership needs to look at all of those things as a collective unit and then figure out the best way to solve those problems, because they ultimately, if you solve one or you start to solve one, you start to solve the other. And one of the interesting things that I noticed were look, there's like 250,000 workers in South Dade, right? And I think there's 50,000 jobs. There's really no major employment centers.
Can you repeat that? Those numbers?
Yeah, think about that, right? 250,000 workers, 50,000 jobs. So there's no major employment centers in South Dade. So about close to 200,000 people have to get up in the morning and drive north of 88th Street, right, to get out of the community. Which
traffic,
right? And so then and how many ways out do you really have that go all the way through to Homestead or Florida City? By the way, we're the bulk of the population, like 70,000 people in Homestead. So what we start to see on the east side is US 1's clogged, Old Cutler Road's clogged, the turnpike's jammed up. So what do? They sneak through the residential streets to avoid those places.
Your city.
Yeah, Pinecrest not so bad. Pinecrest, all the section lines and half section line roads, those parallel streets, north and south and east and west, all are open. They're not blocked. Palmetto Bay's got it worse. Palmetto Bays are blocked by canals. So you've got this bottleneck that they have there, which creates tremendous amount of aggravation for folks in these neighborhoods, and rightfully so. You can't even leave your driveway in the morning. So instead of $1 billion rapid transit line, what if we invested some money and put another 100,000 jobs in South Dade? You'd reverse the commute automatically, and then you wouldn't need the metro, which was impossible to get anyway because it's not a practical. Bus rapid transit is likely the best scenario. And again, Cutler Bay's got the density and intensity already baked into their downtown area, legally land use and zoning to absorb some of those jobs. Just no market yet.
So what kind of jobs well, first of all, is the league working on that, or collaborating with organizations like the Beacon Council and various other groups that are designated to bring industry growth?
You know what we're doing now is the mayor of Cutler Bay, Mayor Mearbot, and the mayor of Palmetto Bay, Mayor Cunningham, we started a group called the Municipal Coalition. This even goes back maybe almost a decade. And what we try to do is bring the elected officials, not only the mayors, but the council members from any of the communities that want, along with the chambers of commerce, the Economic Development Council, anybody that wants to join and talk about issues along the US 1 corridor. And so in that sense, yeah, we're talking about this. We're dealing with these problems. Economic development is the problem that we probably need to face next. We're working closely with Peter England and the Economic Development Council. They've just got a recent report out that I haven't read yet, but it's out there. And we really need to see. One of the hard parts is I'm not sure anybody really knows what economic development is or exactly how to do it. And that's why we all have to collectively bat these ideas around, figure them out, and get an approach to put these jobs in South Dade.
So let's put that in context for the people that are watching us. What we're talking about is not just jobs, but career wage jobs, right? Living wage jobs that pay a decent amount of money for people to live and
we need
and
industry.
themselves.
Like what's Miami-Dade County based on, right? Maybe three things: tourism,
definitely. Used to be agriculture,
right? And that's still in South Dade, right there. And they've
shrinking.
It's shrinking, right? But we need to protect that to a large extent. But tourism, actual development, and then the service industry, people that service those types of things, and
which they run hand in hand.
Yeah,
tourism with the service industry. So
we need to diversify more, because when you run into an emergency like this and you lose all your tourism, like you just get crushed. This hurts everybody across the county. The business guys that own the restaurants on the beach and the people that work in them all across the county. Everybody's in a world of hurt because that's your major industry.
So my family has a house in Key Largo, and we go down there. And now I'm going down there a lot more than I was before because now I'm retired, so I can enjoy my time. Great, the Keys. But I speak to a lot of locals, and I find that there's less and less locals able to afford to live in the Keys. And what they're saying is, you know, cost of living is high, housing, but it's jobs. Their jobs are shrinking. The amount of pay is shrinking. I've always thought we can bring other industries that will relieve our dependence on tourism. But what are those industries, right? Is it environmental, manufacturing? Are there tech jobs that we can create down here in South Florida? I think we have an incredible workforce, just ready, just they are waiting for the opportunities.
You've got hundreds of thousands of people that would be available for these things. And by the way, they would love to work closer to home. Nobody wants to drive from Homestead or West Kendall to Miami Beach. It takes you 2 hours, right? It's a recipe for failure. It's ruining people's lives, right? We need to put the jobs closer to the people, and there's a market there. It's just what industries can we attract to go to these places in South and West Dade and do that. And I think that's where we need the analysis from economic development professionals.
Is that what your business is concentrating on, your Corradino group?
Oh, my job is I'm an urban planner. And so we have a company that's about 150 people in 7 offices across the nation. And we work for a lot of cities. We work for state departments of transportation, doing everything from municipal planning, everything from policy making, comprehensive plans, zoning, transportation, traffic, those types of things, up to the design and construction of major expressways and that type of stuff. So it's I guess local and state government planning work, trying to improve communities.
There sure is a lot of need for that, man. I think just as a layperson, just as the citizen who travels and lives in Dade County, man, I often think this growth, the road system, the infrastructure we had was certainly not designed for the rapid or the expansion that we've had.
Well, think about it. I mean, no government could possibly keep up with the pace of growth that South Florida's seen over the last 30 years, right? There's, I don't know, you get the number, but we're 2.7 million people now. And if you look back, I guess 20 years ago, we were almost half that, right? And so there's no way a city or a state can actually keep up with that type of. You're always behind. You're always in the mode of construction, right? When's the last time you drove up the Palmetto and it wasn't being worked on?
I don't remember.
But 20 years ago, it was 2 lanes in each direction.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't even know. There's like 20 lanes in each direction or something like that.
Seems
And
like
it's
it at
still under
times.
construction.
I saw Keone McGee. He posted, Commissioner McGee yesterday posted something
He's
on
great.
Facebook, and he said, look at all these Christmas lights. And what he was talking about was the traffic that he was experiencing on the turnpike on the way south. It was crazy.
Right now, you can't get home in the afternoon, right?
No.
Because it's packed all the way down the Homestead. It's red tail lights as far as you can see. And by the way, it's 4 lanes wide.
And that drives home the point. Let's create industry that we can keep people employed locally.
Yeah,
right?
down south, right?
Yeah.
And then you reverse that commute almost immediately.
Is there an appetite in Dade County for that amongst the leadership?
Yeah, I think we just need to figure it out. I mean, I think that once you start to put these things together, transportation, affordable housing, economic development, it all makes sense. But now you got to figure out how to do it. And believe me, it's hard, right? We've been searching for a metro rail system or a viable mass transit system in South Dade for, I don't know, as long as anybody can remember. We're this close to having a bus rapid transit system, but you know what? We've never been able to put together the economic development. We can't solve the affordable housing crisis. So yeah, there is a tremendous appetite. We just need to dive a little bit deeper into these problems and come up with some viable solutions. I'm encouraged because we don't have a way out. We can't keep doing what we've been doing. It's got us to this position, which is, it makes the community virtually unlivable to some people.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have an exodus too. As many people coming than does how many are leaving. So for those of you that are watching, Mayor, would you mind if they chime in and give us some thoughts and maybe some suggestions? And even if we don't get them on the show today, we can certainly talk about it in the future.
Love it.
I'm excited. I think that meeting with you and speaking with you and the conversations we've had, there's hope for us who live out here in Dade County, are dependent on our leaders, our elected leaders. that they want to provide relief. On the way here, I was speaking to somebody who her business has taken a hit, right? And she works in the sports industry, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
arenas are not back to capacity. So she's looking at everything she's invested in her company, her life savings, her life work going kaput. Um, what kind of advice can you give those people that are suffering, that need help right now?
Hang on, we're almost there, right? We thought that that if you looked at this, and we never thought a vaccine would be out this early. It's kind of remarkable that we're 9 months in and the vaccines come out. We would have thought we'd be in the position we are now, maybe in the summer, maybe in the fall of next year, but we're not. We could be largely through this as we get into the spring or early summer. So hang on. There should be more federal relief. The county and the cities have federal relief money right now. Look for it, apply for it. It's there to help people in exactly those situations. There should be more coming. There's no way we can, survive this crisis without that relief coming from the federal government. So we're not only anticipating but relying on it. So just hang on.
So a couple facts. We know that the feds have announced that the vaccine should be here in Miami, and the first round should go to healthcare workers, right, frontline workers, by December 11th. I believe the CDC is having a meeting on the 10th.
The 10th.
Yeah. So by the 11th, they said they can get it out 24 hours after. Miami's in that hub of distribution, so we should receive it fairly quickly. So between the 11th and the 17th, that's the first round. And then into the new year, we should have relief for our community. We know our members of Congress are very important in this conversation. Reach out to your members of Congress because they need to hear from you. Look at the mayor. The mayor is very approachable. He's just like us. Our elected people are just like us. We often don't reach out to them because we feel that they're unapproachable, but they are. When I was elected, I wanted to hear from people, my constituents. So after all, they work for us. So Mayor, any other thoughts here?
If you need me, I'm always available. My cell phone number is 305-606-2364.
Can you repeat that?
305-606-2364. Anytime, day or night, just give me a call. We're always here to help and help sort through your problems. We'll do everything we can to get you the fastest, easiest route to success.
That's admirable. What elected official will give you their number? The mayor just gave you his personal cell phone number. Thank you for that.
You're
That's
welcome.
big. Couple last things. How are we doing on time?
You're all right, but you got a couple comments up there on the.
Let me see. I can't read them. So let's see. Can you read them, Mayor?
I can read them. Let's see. Where do you want to go?
Start with Madeline Roman, the top, right after the research.
Madeline Roman. We need to open up the grid in the village of Palmetto Bay.
What are your thoughts?
That's a tricky one. Yeah, the reason you can't get through is because the grid is blocked. Now we got to figure out a way to do it. And the thoughts were, I think you could look at this two different ways. You can open up the grid, or you could wait for the rapid transit system to come in and push people onto the transit system and relieve the congestion that way. Either way, it's capacity, right? So it's one or the other. And that's a local decision that needs to get made between the smart folks in Palmetto Bay and everybody to the north and south of them. They got to get together and figure this out. Rapid transit system's coming though.
Yeah, and definitely you need to be involved in your commission meetings, right, and council meetings. I'd love to hear from you, Madeline. My number is 305-335-7759. Again, 305-335-7759. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and how we can help here on the show. I can't see the other names.
Madeline also says we need bigger businesses south. Why didn't Amazon choose us? Could it be a transportation or transit? I think Amazon is looking further down south in the Homestead area to locate a distribution facility. And I heard there's some other talk about locating maybe near the Air Force Base, one way or the other. I'm not quite sure what the reach of those facilities are. I believe that they'd be able to distribute hyper locally in South Dade. So it's not where you had a logistics like a warehouse necessarily that needed that you would locate your freight distribution facility in South
Mhm.
Dade and then have to drive it all the way out. Like, Doral, it's very simple. You get on you're in your warehouse just west of the airport. You get on 25th Street
Yeah.
Viaduct, boom, you're right into the airport and you can fly your stuff out. South Dade's a little bit trickier for that. But if you're distributing goods that are coming from elsewhere and that's your hub, your South Dade hub, your Keys hub, South Dade's a great place to have a facility like that.
What would be great is taking a look and really looking at what's going to happen with what used to be the Homestead Air Force Base or the Air Reserve Base, right? That's an excellent transportation point. It's also what we know as the executive airport in West Dade, West Kendall. Underutilized. I've always advocated for greater use of that airport. It'll never be an international airport, but we can certainly extend the runway and allow larger planes to come and grow the local economy. It will grow drastically, tens of millions of dollars, and that also includes jobs, right?
Yeah, that's the creative thought we need, right? What are our existing resources and how do we strengthen them?
Yeah.
The air base adds a lot to the community. I mean, it's a tremendous employer. I mean, I think they're focused on their next mission, which is a new fighter jet.
Mhm.
And so it's important to be clear with them and not intrude on their base, right? I mean, land development that gets close to the base really hurts their ability to get their next mission.
Okay.
So you almost got to keep away unless they've decided to go in a totally different direction and you want to repurpose the airbase. But that's something that's again part of a group conversation that we have to have as an entire community on exactly how to do that.
Would you keep us informed?
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be
participate with
a
us,
critical
because
facility.
This is part of working with the community, right? Giving them an insider's view that they ordinarily wouldn't have. One thing that I'm big on is manufacturing. We have an opportunity to expand our footprint across the state. We have a robust aerospace industry in the state of Florida. We have a great aviation industry. As a matter of fact, Florida was key to aviation throughout the globe, right?
Right.
So why can't we continue that growth? And those are jobs that obviously pay well for our people and can keep people closer to South Dade, and they don't have to travel, spend hours. I just thought of this. Was it last week or the week before? I spent 25 minutes to travel 6 miles. 25 minutes to travel 6 miles on the Dolphin. It's just so painful.
What has COVID taught me in a sense? I mean, there have been some things that we need to learn as we go and evolve in a positive way. My business operates traditionally out of an office, and it's where you bring your engineers and your planners and they go to work. I'm never going back to an office again. So my daily routine in March before this all happened is I'd go see some clients and I'd go to Broward County and I'd go to Doral and I'd end up in Homestead. And by the time I took that circuit every day, I was out of about at least 3 hours of time, right? Maybe 4. So out of a 9-hour day or a 12-hour day, you've wasted 4 hours in the car. Right now, I sit at home. We meet almost instantaneously. The meetings can be hour after hour after hour. You can touch everybody you need to touch. Not a wasted minute in driving, right? I mean, that's adding 3 to 4 hours to my day. Yeah. Now, the problem is you're still working 12 hours a day. So you're hyper productive, right? Now you're getting 12 solid hours of work in, and you've never left the house. And if you can tolerate it, that's the way of the future. By the way, that solves traffic too. And the issue may be going forward. You know what it is when schools are out, the traffic volume is how much less do you think? What as a percentage?
Summertime is drastically less.
It's 5% less. That's it, right? 5% less, and nobody complains about traffic in the summertime, right? Kids are out of school. It's great. Man, if you could get 5% of the businesses like mine, lawyers, accountants, whatever, service businesses that use offices to let 5% of their employees not go in every day or not during the peak hours, you've eliminated the traffic problem, right? That's without one penny of capital expenditure, right? Guess what these things, a Metro Rail costs like $1 million a mile. And for free, you can eliminate traffic by just not having the guys drive to downtown every morning. And they don't have to drive to downtown.
Yeah. So, we also have to consider transitioning people from one industry to others, right? And you just mentioned, you'll never go back to an office. or many people will never go back to an office. We have less office space, so what do we do with that, right? Um, Man, there's an immense need for local leaders to really come together and really redefine where we will be in the next decade,
Yeah.
because this COVID, let's say we get over COVID, and God willing, we will get over COVID, what, by March? That's what the predictions are. March, June. I'm sorry, June. Yeah, June. But the effects will still be here for a long time to come, and it's up to the people to get involved with the leaders, the elected people. I mean, we elect you to office. It's a shame that we don't interact with you more, to be able to find out and be a part of the solution, right? So we need everyone to be involved at the table. How are we doing on time? Are we okay on time? 2 minutes. What would you like the viewers to know? Something that they don't know about you.
I don't know. I think I've been elected since 2006. If they don't know a lot about me already, there'd be a problem. No, I'm here to serve. We in Pinecrest look at things a little bit differently. We just want to do our jobs. We want to set our policy, let our staff do what they need to do. Low key, small government, help people find solutions. Always accessible. And it's times like this, and in the crises that I think we're needed most. We're quiet, but we're very effective. We're very communicative. And if you have a problem, just reach out. We're here for you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. For those of you viewing, and those of you that we didn't get back to on the questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them separately offline. But listen, hopefully we'll have this show on a regular basis. This is about informing you of what's going on, but putting a personal touch, an insider's view, and personalizing the elected officials who run our county. And we want to hear from you. So Grant Miller, Michael Miller, the community newspapers team, thank you. To all those that have helped us be on the show, I can't thank you enough. With that, I'll say thank you and have a great day.